Hi friends, it's Lauren Taylor. Thanks for joining me in my craft room today. It's a new release from Trinity Stamps for the upcoming holidays, so we're having a fun hop today sharing some of the new products. I am using some new products for my video today. I did have a couple more in my little bucket here I was thinking about using, but I don't end up doing any hot foiling or sentiment die cutting today. But I will be using this adorable new Ice Friends stamp set. I love the hockey items on here, and it has a coordinating die. I'm also using the pine forest background. Can we talk about how cute this stamp is? And then I'm also going to be using the Snowflakes checkered background add-on stencil and these adorable shimmer snowflakes flat confetti embellishment mix. And you probably saw a couple other items in there that I did not end up using. I stamped and colored my images. I stamped in alcohol marker friendly black ink and colored them in with my Ohuhu art markers. And I've really been enjoying this technique, which I'm sure it's nothing new or anything, but stamping my images again with a VersaFine ink so it's much more vibrant and deep. I just think it creates such a fun cartoon look to my already cartoon looking images. So I've been doing that with my Misty lately. And I also cut out my images and my sentiment with their coordinating dies. But let's move on to making our background. And I do want to say that I originally intended to include in my video the coloring of my images, but my camera just said nope and shut off halfway through my coloring, and I missed all the good parts of coloring in my critters, so like their fur and everything. So I will just have to do another video with them, or at least something similar, so you can see the colors I use in case you're interested in what I did with my Ohuhu art markers. So jumping back into our background, I'm using my Misty and my Clearly Amazing matte in the medium size, so that way it will fit inside of my medium-sized Misty. And I'm putting my 6x6 stamp so that way it will be kind of centered to the matte. And I have an A2 panel of cardstock here, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just placing that onto my Clearly Amazing matte, which is a like sticky matte, but it's not too sticky. It's a semi-sticky. Does that make sense? A light sticky. And I'm using my brand new anti-static powder tool to remove any static from my white cardstock because I'm going to be doing some embossing, and I'm using some embossing ink, and I stamped this down twice to get a nice impression. You can see I'm checking it to make sure I can see the clear on white, and I can see all of my trees, so I think it will emboss quite nicely. So I'm peeling it off my light tacky matte, and I'm going to be adding some clear embossing powder all over this background, and I will use my heat gun to melt all of that embossing powder down so we can do an emboss resist technique with the background. I'm going to grab some Distress Oxide. I'm going to use pine needles and my green blending brush for my oxides, just taking off any excess color with my microfiber cloth, and then I will go ahead and completely cover this panel. So I'm going to go through and just really lay on that color, trying to get a nice blend. I'm okay if it's not perfect because it's supposed to look like a big forest of trees, so just want to make sure my whole panel was at least covered with the color. I'm cleaning off my brush real quick, and then I'm also going to take that same towel and I'm going to wipe away any excess ink that's sitting on top of my embossed design. So you can see here those trees are really lightening up. They look white again because I have clear embossing powder with white paper. And the reason why I did clear instead of white was because if it did get a little bit of green mixed into the design, I was okay with it since I knew this whole background was going to be green in my head. So that's why I did clear instead of a white embossing powder. And then to give the trunks a little bit of brown, I'm just using my Distress ink in ground espresso and a water brush pen to color in the tree trunks in my background. Now we're going to do a little bit of stenciling. So I have my background and my stencil on my grip mat, and I'm bringing out some stencil paste. This is Pearl White Stardust Butter from the Crafter's Workshop, and I'm going to add it to my background. I'm not going to worry too much about that last row of snowflakes because I know that a lot of the bottom of my background is going to be covered with my images. So just try to get it down to fill the majority of my background, but didn't worry about it going completely all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and clean my stencils, but first, of course, the stencil reveal. I love this part, and it's actually kind of hard to see the snowflakes, so it is definitely a subtle thing when you can look up close to the card, but I really liked it. I like how this kind of also looks like one of those 3D images, you know, where you have to kind of cross your eyes to see the image, but I'm really liking how this is turning out. I set it aside to dry while I did my cleaning and cleaned up my desk, and now I want to trim my background down. So I want my panel to be 3 3/4 by 5 inches, but I had worked so hard on centering my snowflakes that I am just going to trim off 1/4 inch off of all 4 sides instead of doing a 1/2 inch from one side, like the vertical, and then a 1/2 inch on the horizontal. I didn't want my hard work to go to waste. And then I have a panel of yellow cardstock already cut from it's an A2 paper pad, so it's already trimmed down or sized to an A2, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to try and make sure that I like where my frozen pond is going to be on the background so I can go ahead and start gluing and assembling this card together. I'm taking my large tape runner and I'm going to add some tape on my Emboss Resist panel, and I'll glue that to the center of my yellow cardstock. You can see there's a nice big yellow border around my background. I wanted it to be yellow to tie in with some of the small yellow details of my images. I didn't color a lot with yellow, so I wanted to bring in yellow more into my card, so that's why I chose that for my background cardstock for my card. And then I'm going to pop up everything else. So I'm just grabbing some foam strips here. These are an 1/8 inch from scrapbook.com, as well as my foam squares in both large and small. And I'm doing my best to add the pond where you can't see the very bottom of my tree background. I'm going to do a little dry run with the rest of my images to make sure they're all going to fit where I want them. And then I will grab my foam adhesive to add them where they overlap the tree background. And I will use liquid adhesive where they will overlap on the frozen pond. So you can see there, I was just measuring to make sure I added enough foam adhesive and I knew where I needed to stop, like where as high up as my liquid adhesive needed to go. So I'm just going to add that where I know it will overlap with the frozen pond. So as I keep doing that for all my images, I wanted to talk a little bit about the hop today. So as you know, today is the brand new release from Trinity Stamps for September, and there are so many amazing new products celebrating Christmas and winter. So to keep on celebrating, we're having a hop here on YouTube as well as Instagram, and you can get all those details down below in my description. But make sure you hop with us, like the videos, leave comments, and if you feel inclined, we sure hope you'll subscribe to all of the amazing creators. And you could win a chance at a $50 gift card, which is really awesome. So make sure you do everything by the deadline. And again, all of that info and the fine print you will find in the description. So now that my card background and all my cute little critters are assembled, we're going to go ahead and add this to a card base. This is a top folding, I guess technically it's a side folding card base, but it will be top folding because it's in the landscape position. And I'm adhering my background right onto that card base, and it's looking so cute. I love these just fun, bright, colorful colors. I know it sounds weird to say, but just the bright blue, the green, the reds, the yellow went very primary colors for this card. I have my pickup stick to get all of those cute snowflakes. Again, these are a like holographic shiny silvery snowflake embellishment mix, and they just add some extra shine to the card. And here you can see close up, you can see those little tiny snowflake embellishments as well as the stenciled on snowflakes on that fun busy background, which is why I kept my critter scene and my sentiment a little more simple so that background can really shine behind everything. But I hope you like my card inspiration, and I hope you have an awesome time hopping and seeing all of the wonderful new inspiration for the new products. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!